So, elephant in the room, everybody's heard Broadcom.
Oh, yeah.
Broadcom, VMware. From my seat, what I've seen, we work with a bunch of different companies.
Right.
They are all scratching their heads because they're in a position where, this acquisition has happened and they are not in there's a lot of people out there that are not in a position to consider using their environment the same way in which they had. So
Correct,
they're trying to find
yeah.
alternatives.
So VMware has always been the gold standard for virtualization. Microsoft was always in the background. Nutanix, I've been using Nutanix for over 10 years. Nutanix, when they came out, they were a all-in-one. They used their hardware, their OS, and their hypervisor. And the benefits to that was you needed a package, you bought it, you got it, you plugged it in, it worked. Support on Nutanix in the past was lacking. Support has gotten considerably better. Nutanix is now doing a hardware agnostic operating system where you don't have to stick to one. If like we're a Dell shop, they had a list of Dell supported hardware. Now, the downfall to that is you're limited to the list of their supported hardware. Main critical difference in Nutanix versus Microsoft and VMware. Nutanix is designed to be a hyperconverge. Hyperconverge means your storage is on board with your host.
Thank you for breaking that down for people like me.
Yeah, that's kind of the simplest way to put it. VMware is still the Cadillac. It's still the gold standard. If you've got multiple VMs, I would say 40 and up, I would seriously look at. And the benefit, and I'm going to say a massive benefit with Nutanix is with Nutanix AOC, which is their version like Prism. So in VMware, you have vCenter as your centralized unit. You have Prism inside of Nutanix. Nutanix allows for Hyper-V host to be brought in, Nutanix host, VMware host. Microsoft, which tends to be the direction most small to medium are heading, which we've seen, the conversion from VMware to, Hyper-V is fairly simple if they have something like Veeam. We'll do a backup and then restore from Veeam straight to Hyper-V. Backup, just as important as your hypervisor is your backup. You look at compatibility.
But you mentioned Veeam, and it's interesting. I know we're talking about hypervisor, Michael, but the hypervisor and the backup infrastructure goes hand in hand.
Oh, yeah. I think Veeam is predominantly, if you're using Hyper-V, that is your backup solution.
Yeah.
Because, Microsoft, they got rid of their backup for a while. There are other options, but, restoring from Broadcom's VMware straight to Hyper-V or straight to Nutanix is a benefit for everything. So when we were looking at hypervisors and comparing, does it have Veeam compatibility?
Yeah.
What is their primary backup?
Yeah, Veeam's a great software, Michael. It really is.
Well, in my seat, I keep saying this. That's because, hey, I wasn't a previous IT director. Why was VMware so great?
VMware was so great. Ease of use, their product support from, not at the time, Broadcom. It's changed a lot. It used to be you had an issue. If you had a support package, you called, you had an engineer within an hour.
Yeah.
There have been times lately we've called with a Sev1 issue. We didn't have a response for 5-6 hours.
What type of issue?
Say you had a host down, or say you had a crashed VM, or you had a storage issue.
Which could be like catastrophic outages for some.
It can be, yeah. And, if I think about some of the places I've worked or worked with, if they're down more than 5 to 10 minutes, it is a severe issue. Telling somebody they've got to be down for 6 hours waiting for support. The benefit, and I'm going to say this, Nutanix swears by, if you have an issue, you have a onshore immediate response. you have an assigned engineer almost.
Which is great.
You almost have a regional engineer. Anybody in that region would get that engineer. So,
Which is a huge benefit for Nutanix, in my opinion.
And that was one of the things that we looked at heavily when we were choosing Nutanix as something we wanted to, work with and focus on, was how quick are we getting responses? Do we have direct engineer numbers? And Nutanix gives you a direct number to most of the engineers. You still open a ticket, but you can get an engineer if you need.
Okay.
So,
I mean, from your professional experience, it sounds like, what you do at Clearwinds, you don't really care if it's, Hyper-V, VMware, Nutanix. It's the best fit for that customer,
it's the best fit for the customer is what you look at. Because a lot of times it's like their hardware may be new, right? But their hardware may not be a good fit to leave Broadcom and go to Nutanix. Nutanix has a very tight list right now. It'll function, but they may not support that hardware.
And that's an unfortunate thing that I've seen is, hey, you've got some, VMware Broadcom customers. They're in that spot where they can't pay for a new setup at this stage.
Right.
And also they can't, pay whether it's 3 times as much as it was with the whatever license type they had.
Right.
And so what do you do if you're in that spot?
That's when you sit down and you have to seriously look at, are you truly sized correctly with your VMs? Are you overcommitted? Do you have too much memory commit to a machine that's only using 15 to 20% of those resources? You size everything properly, and then you look at your hardware and say, okay, can I run what I need to run on the hardware that I have?
Have you, in kind of looking at reviews, have you found people that are not sized? Okay.
We have, and we've made size adjustments.
Are you seeing cost savings when you're taking that approach?
We have. I don't want to mention any clients, but in the last 2 weeks, we've done 2 conversions for clients, and they've both gone smooth. And convert them to Hyper-V.
Yeah,
and they've run great.
Yeah,
I was thinking, Michael, like you said, they can't even afford to buy the license and much less repurpose hardware or buy new hardware. So, have you seen customers shift into cloud, like AWS and Microsoft?
We've seen some. I know outside of our clients, I know of people that have been going to cloud, but even cloud is starting to increase in price. It depends on who you're looking at. If you're looking at Amazon or if you're looking at Azure with Microsoft, there are good cloud options. But to look at, if it was a super small place, if they only had 2 or 3 servers, a domain controller, a file server, something like that, cloud would be perfect. If you're running specific software, which we have a lot of clients that are using homegrown software. They're using specific applications. They're not really cloud compatible, the way they communicate, the way they work.
No, and you answered just how I was thinking you were, because I think, Michael, a lot of people, they get the sticker shock like, oh, man, I can't pay 10X.
Oh, yeah.
And let's go to cloud. Well, then they go to cloud, and the cloud is 10X as well.
Right.
So it's really, you got to plan and make those investments.
And, you're talking about compatibility between the 3, if we're just talking those 3, VMware, you can run Mac OS, Linux OS, and Windows.
Yeah.
Nutanix, you look at Nutanix can run all 3 as well. That is one limitation with Microsoft. Microsoft Hyper-V is predominantly a Windows environment. If you're a customer that has a predominant Windows environment, it's perfect. You can run Linux, but you're not going to have support for Linux. They don't support a problem you may have. If you're running a 80, 90% Microsoft environment, Hyper-V for a small business is, what you're probably looking for. If you're a major corporation, with multiple locations, Broadcom is probably going to be where you're going to want to stay. Everything you get, you can combine state to state to state under one I'm going to call it hypervisor manager, but vCenter is what's going to be the safest bet there.
No, I think that's a good overview.
It is. I'll tell you, Michael, I think our listeners and viewers are going to love this episode because this is such a hot topic right now. And a lot of IT directors, like myself, all I ever used was VMware. So a lot of people don't even know where to go and how to navigate, and that's where they can reach out to Coy.
Oh yeah,
and that's been the biggest fear that people, after it's done, after we've taken them from VMware to Hyper-V, they've realized it's not that different. Things look similar, things act similar. You still vMotion the same way. You still make templates the same way. You just don't get all the bells and whistles.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great to be in a position to where you can be a consultant who can help people, because it's clear there's a problem. There's been transition in the market, and I've had too many conversations with people where, I mean, I'm on this side of working at Clearwinds, but I can feel their pain. We've got nonprofits that we've worked with that have been shut down because they can't afford it. We've had, colleges, higher ed, K-12, like different groups that have all been impacted. And I think the key point is like, hey, you're not alone. There's people who can help. There are options. It's an unfortunate thing, but hey, there are paths you can take to make sure that, hey,
you can keep running.
You keep running.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, Coy, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Hey, thanks for joining us today on the IT Directors Podcast. We're so glad you joined us. Look, go follow us on all social media platforms. The IT Directors Podcast, powered by Clearwinds. And look, if you want more information, check out our website, clearwinds.net. We're going to have show notes, special guest bios. We're going to have reels. Our marketing team has done a fantastic job. Go check this out. We're so thankful that you joined us today.